The big names you know, the other guys you've never heard of. Until now. This is Around the Nest. Jay talking around the Blue Jays minor league system.
Next up on Around the Nest, what we like to do pretty much every show is we like to give you insights into who these Blue Jays minor leaguers are. To take a player that you watch, how well they're playing, how everything is going, and you get to actually meet them. So in this case, I'd like to introduce you to a player, and I'm going to read some statistics. In his final college year, he slashed .321 with a .500 on-base percentage and a .623 slugging percentage. Played second base. He was rated the number 8 senior hitting prospect in the country by D1Baseball.com. There's a lot going on. Zac Cook signed as an undrafted free agent by the Toronto Blue Jays. Welcome to the Blue Jays organization.
Thank you. Good to be here.
I want to go back even before the Blue Jays signed you, even before you went to UT Arlington. Was there a moment in your high school career, or maybe it was in college, where things clicked for you offensively?
I would say, definitely growing up, I was always kind of the smaller guy, never really had much power, but really prided myself on knowing the game and knowing who I was and trying to execute that as well as I could. That carried over from high school into college, and as I matured and grew and got stronger, the offensive power gains that we saw more so in the last year really started to jump, and I credit that a lot to the guys at UTA, our hitting coach Chad Comer, our strength and conditioning team that really helped me get to that spot with my body, to where all the work I had done mentally and with my swing over the last 8 years had really finally caught up to where the rest of me was.
You said knowing who you were as a baseball player. Who are you now as a baseball player?
I'd like to think I'm the same guy I've always been. Not afraid to bunt, not afraid to run. Situational hitting has always been big, trying to help the team in whatever way is needed at that point. I don't like to think that I could be kind of put into a hole as far as a contact guy, a power guy, a speed guy, whatever. I like to pride myself on being versatile at the plate and in the field, and being able to do whatever is asked of me, whatever is needed of me in that situation. And that's something I think that I've done a really good job of it, in the last 4 years at school, and have gotten better at. And just seeing those jumps as far as power numbers, base running numbers, on base, you name it. Progressing year after year, I think, has been my biggest accomplishment for me personally.
Defensively, I saw that you spent your senior year as the regular second baseman. But over the course of your baseball career, how many positions have you played?
Pretty much all of them. At UTA alone, I think I've played all of the infield spots except first base and all the outfield spots. So it's been, it was a lot of fun getting to kind of experiment and get to play different spots and have different roles. And that was just a really good opportunity for me, and I enjoy playing all over the place, and hopefully I can continue to do so with the Blue Jays.
How many gloves did you bring into pro ball?
3 infielders gloves, 2 outfielders gloves, some trainers, but it's a wide variety for sure.
When you were packing up to go to Dunedin, was that difficult to know what to bring with you?
Kind of, and it goes back to the uncertainty of this offseason, this unprecedented time, the lack of being able to be around the organization in person, and them not really knowing me and me not really knowing them as far as what they expect of me and what they want me to do, and kind of learning each other as we go. So from that standpoint, I brought 2 infield gloves and an outfield glove, and just kind of playing it day by day, kind of trying to, like I said, be versatile and just add value wherever value is needed. And that's something that I really try to bring to wherever I'm, and hopefully I can continue to do so.
Let's get into that uncertainty. You're a college senior. This is your senior year. You start off great. UTA is ready, and then everything shuts down. What is that like?
It's frustrating for sure. Putting in, over the last 2 years with the team that we had, putting in the work, day in, day out, seeing, individual guys, make huge jumps in their game and just getting closer as a team. And like you said, starting off hot, being up to third in RPI, big midweek wins over TCU and DBU, top 25 teams all the time. You hear about them. Just really gelling together and playing good baseball. And that's something that we had believed in ourselves and our coaching staff had believed in us. And it was kind of cool to see the fruits of our labor, if you will, kind of play out on the field. So definitely frustrating for that to kind of get taken away from us. The what ifs will always be there. We had pretty big expectations for ourselves. So, it's heartbreaking, but, it's the way it goes, unfortunately.
How did you spend that time between the final day of your season abruptly to actually signing that contract with Toronto?
At first it was kind of, after the initial shock of it, it was cool to have, time off in the spring, something, as a baseball player you never have. Being able to be with family and friends and teammates regardless of, baseball. But then, after 2-3 days of, this is a long weekend, and it set in that, okay, this is real, we're not going back to play. This is a longer thing than we thought. Just trying to stay ready for whatever and whether the draft was still an uncertainty at that point. You didn't know if it was going to happen at all, how many rounds, would there be a minor league season, all that stuff. So trying to maintain physical shape and baseball shape with, the lockdowns and facilities being closed and just lack of, availability. Definitely trying to stay busy, lots of activities that keep your mind off of, what could have been, what should we be doing right now? Where should we be? Hunting, golf, kind of working out, just kind of being around friends that kind of bring back those feelings, but using it in a positive way to wherever, the quarantine takes us. We were ready for whatever that looked like.
If it's a normal draft, if it's a 40-round draft, you're getting drafted. Then the draft is shortened to 5 rounds. And then there's the unusual period, and here's what free agents are limited to signing for. What was that experience like approaching the draft leading up to you signing with the Blue Jays?
It was a mixed emotion kind of thing. I mean, obviously, every baseball player, every kid dreams of, draft day and hearing their name called and getting a phone call, right? And it was kind of disheartening to know that with a 5-round draft and being a senior, that probably wasn't going to happen for me. And it was a tough decision, to say the least. I had great conversations, with the front office staff and the player development guys of the Blue Jays. I have connections with the organization from past coaches and past, friendships, and just heard unbelievable things about, the way they do business and the way they take care of their players and the interest and the focus they put on developing players. And that's something that really appealed to me. It's funny though, after the draft, there was a 20 or 48-hour dead period where they couldn't talk to you, and I was actually coaching a summer team in Oklahoma City, and I woke up that morning and had no idea what I wanted to do. Didn't know if I wanted to go back to school and finish my master's degree. Didn't know if I wanted to sign and, take that next step. Had a lot of good conversations, my parents, my friends, my coaches, the scout, Max Semler, just kind of talking with all of them, trying to figure out not only what I wanted to do selfishly, but what was the right move for me and my family and my career. Ultimately, it came down to, this has been the dream since I was 4 years old. This is something I've always wanted to do. And kind of as we talked about, the progress that I've made and the jumps that I've made offensively and, strength-wise, it's kind of led to this apex, if you will, where this is kind of where I blossom, if you will. I wanted to kind of take that in stride and move on to the next level and kind of see where that takes me. Really hard decision leaving UTA, knowing that 99% of our club was coming back, and the team that we did have and the additions we were adding. Tough decision, but one that I didn't take lightly, and I felt that I owed my teammates and my family, my friends, the seriousness of that decision. But overall, that happy I made the choice that I did. I've loved every minute of it since, that day. Being down here in Dunedin has been unbelievable. In irregular first exposure to professional baseball, I would say, but
This is not normal. Yeah.
yeah. But the guys down here have really done a great job making us feel welcome and at home and valued, and within the constraints that they have, obviously, making it feel as close to normal as possible.
You mentioned those conversations with the Blue Jays. Before you actually said yes, how many conversations were there?
I talked to the scout Max Semler, talked to him on the phone at least once a week from the day we shut down to the day I signed. Always in communication, kind of let me know what the organization was thinking, what he was thinking, where I was at, how I was doing, my family, very, very personal, not just the X's and O's of business and baseball. Had a few really good Zoom calls with some of the player development guys, got to know some of the front office guys through those kind of meetings, and just kind of got a broader perspective on the organization, its values, what they respected and what they valued, and just kind of got to know them more as, other than just the team from Canada. And it was really cool to kind of get to know the people behind the names and the titles, and, kind of extend that relationship to something that was realistic.
Was there a moment that you told your family? Was there a first person that you told when you came to that decision, yes, I'm going to do it?
I was actually in the car. The first person I called was my head coach, because I figured, he deserved to know. I had lots of conversations with him even on that day. Just I'm torn between, these two things. I don't know what I want to do. And he was, extremely helpful and caring and just excited for me to be able to achieve, my dream basically of playing professional baseball. Then my parents, my girlfriend, my family, a lot of phone calls to be made in a very short amount of time, I'm sure. But, it was just, I think my dad was more excited than I was. He was just in disbelief for the first probably 2 hours.
Was there any kind of party? Could you celebrate at all?
Not really. It was kind of, and that goes back to the indecision, right? Every kid wants, that party and the family and friends gathered around and hearing your name called and the excitement, all that. And, it was a little subdued for what, I had in my head. But at the end of the day, I knew the people that I care about were happy for me and loved me. And, I was excited and I felt valued. And that's, really what mattered most to me in the moment.
You said that you knew other people with the Blue Jays organization. Can I ask, who did you know with the Blue Jays before suddenly here's Max on you?
Yeah, so my summer ball coach in high school, Matt Young, is the hitting coach in high A in Dunedin. And I've had a really good relationship with him. The summer I played for him, learned a lot from him, loved his mentality and approach to the game. Have maintained a pretty good relationship with him over the last couple of years while I was at school. And then when he took the job with the Blue Jays, kind of stayed in contact, but at a more limited capacity. But then when, that opportunity came around, he was the first person I called, as a friend, as a mentor, as a coach. There's a lot of uncertainty going on. What do you have as far as the organization, as far as me, just I guess an inside ear to kind of whisper in, to kind of get a better look at what it was really like. And he had nothing but amazing things to say. And I'm excited to get to work with him again and wear the same uniform. And I know he's at home with his wife and his kid right now and just had a new baby, but wish he could be here and wish I could get to work out with him, but soon enough.
Next spring training.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now you signed. When's the first time you go to Dunedin?
Probably the weekend after. So draft was on that Thursday, signed on Sunday, and then that next Sunday flew down to Dunedin, did my physical, did the official, all the paperwork, stuff like that. Didn't get to see the facility or the stadium or anything like that because of COVID situations, but kind of got exposed to this is where everything is, and being down there and now just seeing Dunedin and the Clearwater area, it's a beautiful place place to work and live, and I'm excited to spend more time down here.
All right, so you go through that, you come back. When do you get called back? Because you're there for the instructs right now.
It was kind of an ongoing process. There was conversations of, this is our idea, this is kind of what we want to do. We're not sure logistically when or how, but be ready. So that from, I guess the middle of June to the middle of September was just a waiting game of trying to stay in shape, trying to stay ready to go for whatever capacity that looked like. And then middle of September, got the phone call, hey, we're having instructs into Dunedin. Would you like to come down? We'd love to have you. Which of course I jumped on as fast as I could. But then, got down here and it's been a blast.
In July and August, were you able to play any pickup baseball games? Were you able to get friends together and just play ball?
Unfortunately, no. I wish, especially the area that I'm from has produced some unbelievable baseball players. I think on my high school team alone, there are 4 guys playing professional baseball right now. So that's pretty amazing in itself. A crosstown rival, Sean Weimer's actually in the organization, so that's kind of cool to see.
Kyle Johnston too, right?
Kyle Johnston as well, yes. So yeah, a lot of people from around that area that are doing great things in baseball, and unfortunately, with the schools and the fields being shut down, never had an opportunity to, but kind of getting, as things slowly started to open up, getting to work with them at the cages and moving on to live at bats and stuff like that. It was a really cool opportunity to be around guys that I grew up playing with, and now it's, we're doing it for a living and doing it for our dreams. So it was a cool opportunity.
The guys that you're meeting for basically the first time, how is everybody?
Unbelievable. It feels like I've known, as cliche as it may sound, most of them for longer than 3 weeks, but the coaching staff here and the player development and the S&C guys and the athletic trainers they've been amazing at making us feel like we're a valued part of the organization, that we've been here for longer than 21 days, and getting to know some of the Latin guys and learning Spanish on a fly has been awesome. Just the whole experience. I have nothing but great things to say about it.
Where are you playing defensively?
That is the question, I guess. Kind of moving all over in the infield right now. Second, third, short. Haven't really spent a lot of time in the outfield, which is fine with me. Like I said, wherever value is needed, I hope to be able to add that value. But really loving the opportunity to kind of move around and play and work at different positions and at the same time, rather than kind of segment it out year to year, season to season.
Putting your scouting hat on, if I were to say let's say you join Lansing, you join Dunedin next year, you go, watch out for Zac Cook, watch out for who else?
Zach Britton, 5th rounder. He's awesome. Great left-handed swing, can run, can throw it. Really good in the outfield. Great teammate. I'm glad I've gotten a chance to know him a little more than just Snapchat and Zoom calls. The pitching staff that's been down here since I've been here has been amazing too. CJ Van Eyck, Trent Palmer, Nick Frost, so all the draft guys have been very impressive as far as just the way they carry themselves. Obviously their stuff on the mound speaks for itself, but just as teammates and as professional athletes, I've been very impressed with everybody.
Let me step from baseball to academics. So I saw that your GPA in high school was 4.89. True?
I guess. I don't know.
Okay. So let's move to college. Did you finish your degree?
I did. I finished in 3 years and then was starting on my master's degree, and that was back to the decision-making process. If I'd gone back to school, I would have been able to finish that in my extra year.
Undergrad degree in what?
Double major in finance and economics.
And master's, there's your direction, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Zach, if I may ask, do you have a dream job in that area? I don't know, 30 years down the road after baseball?
No, it's kind of something that I didn't expect to be interested in going into school. Didn't really have anything else I wanted to do passionately besides baseball. As you mentioned, I've always gotten good grades. Kind of school has been thankfully easier for me. kind of jumping into the more advanced classes, you know, getting into the more economic side, and my master's is in economic data analytics. So geeky number stuff, computer programming, that kind of thing. Job wise, hopefully I never have to work after baseball, but realistically, I don't know. It's kind of a thing that I've kind of pushed off till whenever this ride ends. I hope that I don't have to work, but if I do, I'll figure it out then.
Just to connect data analytics to baseball, it's not that hard to make the connection. The Blue Jays are big into it. Are you somebody who likes to use those analytics?
And short answer, yes. That was one of the Zoom calls that really pre-draft, pre-signing, that really set it apart, talking to the, you know, the high performance and the player development guys, and the way they use, you know, data, and the way that they interpret data, and the metrics they have for evaluating players that aren't just based on hits or not hits. So the geeky side in me really kind of caught on to that and ran with it. Personally, as far as in baseball, I try not to pay attention to it as more than a tool, just because I know that the way my mind works is being super analytical, that can cause issues. But definitely love to experiment and play around with it and kind of geek out over it a little bit.
Let me ask you a hitting question and a pitching question. The pitching question first. You're a hitter. You're going to take on a pitcher that you've never faced before. What do you want to know?
What he attacks with, and what is his you know, punch out pitch? What does he go to when he needs a strikeout? Being a left-handed hitter, you know, fastballs and changeups are always kind of on the radar. You've seen more nowadays, especially in the higher levels of college baseball, moving into pro ball. Guys that, you know, are slider heavy. So definitely, what does he attack early with, and, you know, what is his pitch when he needs an out? What does he go to?
And then the hitting question is simply this. I'm broadcasting the game, but there's a fan sitting at home. You as a hitter, I went through some of your offensive stats from UTA, but if you could say to a fan, a broadcaster, whomever, focus on this offensive stat or these couple of offensive stats instead of these, what would it be?
That's a tough one. I know in recent years, you know, the data guys have kind of gone away from batting average, but, you know, personally, I don't think there's any better way to quantify a hitter. How often are you successful? And I guess that goes back to what you are as a hitter. And we kind of touched on that earlier. And being a guy who prides himself on being rounded at the plate, on base percentage. You know, early in my career at UTA, I was in a leadoff spot. My job's to get on base, so that was where I prided myself. And then the last 2 years, kind of moving into the, you know, second, third, fourth spots, the power numbers, slugging percentage. So I guess as boring as it may sound, the regular old slash line, I think depending on, like I said, where value is needed, I hope to add that value. And if you need me to get on base, and on base percentage is where I want you to pay attention to. You need me to get hits, look at my average, and if I'm in a spot where I'm driving guys in, you know, hitting extra base hits, slugging percentage. So as cliche as it may be, that's kind of where I pride myself.
Two last questions. The first is back home, Flower Mound. I checked it out. It's about 30 minutes due north of where they're playing the World Series. Do you have any friends who are at the World Series?
Tons of them. The entire UTA baseball team, I think, was there the other night. My stepbrother, his cousin is Matt Beatty, who plays on the Dodgers. So him getting to see him play in person and in Arlington at home is a really cool experience. I've nothing but unbelievable things about the stadium and the way they're managing that with COVID and stuff like that. It feels completely normal.
And then finally, Instructs End. How are you going to spend this first off season before your very first pro spring training of sorts?
Trying to build on the stuff that, you know, the feedback that I've gotten from, you know, the organization, and where I need to improve in areas that are important to them, that I add value to and need and continue to improve on. So for me, that would be, you know, maintaining strength. We touched on it earlier. When I'm strong and when I'm in a good position with my body, the baseball part follows. So making sure that I'm in the gym, eating right, doing the stuff that I need to do there. And then also, you know, as far as the feedback I've gotten from the athletic trainers in the S&C team as far as mobility and how that ties into hitting, and just really, really cool stuff that they're doing down here, kind of tying everything together and just building upon that and continuing to get better and hopefully be ready for spring training and hopefully getting to play a full season.
Well, rooting you on from afar for now, and we'll see if we get to root you on from closer, but that's a ways away. Zac Cook, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.